Welcome to the Back to Me podcast, where we help multicultural incoming freshman women and men manage their entire college experience throughout post-graduation to successfully transition into entrepreneurship and corporate workspaces as new hires.
Back to me. Oh, I turned it around. I'm back to me. I finally figured it out. I'm back to me. So when you think you have nothing, back to me. I go back to me. Yeah, I'm back to me.
Hello, everyone. It's your host, Yoli Tamu. Our Women Leading with Heart series continues with Dr. Khalilah Doss, the Vice President for Student Affairs and Strategic Enrollment Management at California State Fullerton. This first-generation Jamaican track scholar became an educational trailblazer who simply wanted to, quote, be who I needed. Dr. Doss shares why seeing the humanity in students as someone's children guides every decision she makes. She models heart-led leadership and relationship building with a deep commitment to ensuring students never feel like a bother, only seen, valued, and supported. So find out why asking for help, admitting I don't know, and understanding that seeking support is actually a strength, not a weakness. Enjoy. My goodness. I mean, we're always grateful when people say yes, but wow, we're really grateful when they're passionate and compassionate at the same time. Passionate about what they do and compassionate about these students. And so today we have a powerful woman. We're celebrating her for Women's History Month because of her heart, because of her compassion. And she is the Vice President for Student Affairs at Cal State Fullerton, Dr. Khalilah Doss. How are you?
Well, Yoli, how are you?
I'm fantastic. Thank you for saying yes.
Always, when it involves the babies and students and all the things, that is my why, that's my passion. So I'm always open and ready to serve.
Oh, fantastic. And I understand this is a fairly new position for you as a vice president.
It is. So I started July 14th of 2025. And I also share with folks, my original role was the vice president for student affairs, and then it merged because we had a search for a vice president of strategic enrollment management, which deals with like your admissions and all of that. That was not successful. So those roles are married for now.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. And what stood out for me with you, and I told you when I got a peek at your bio and some of the things you had said that I want to be who I needed. That was powerful.
It's important, sometimes we get into our positions and our seats and we forget about the journey, right? It's not just, life is continuous, right? You're going to a destination and that destination may move, right? So how do we think about what tools we needed or who helped us to build our toolkits that allowed us to navigate the nuances of life? Right? It doesn't even have to be in work or anything else, but just life and what that looks like. And for me, there's a term, an African term called Sankofa, and it's to reach back and get. My life is really structured on that and what that looks like. It's going back and getting it and pulling as I climb.
Reach back and get. I love it. And so that kind of leads me into motivations. On this podcast, we're always asking our guests about why higher ed and what led you to serve this type of student?
Yeah. So I have not, let me knock on wood, I've not met anyone in my field or my life who has said, you know what, when I grow up, I want to go into higher ed. I don't even think folks really understand how nuanced it is. The folks that I've engaged with, we've fallen into higher ed, right? Whether we were involved in our undergrad as an RA or as a student leader, and we start having those conversations with people around us to say, hey, what does this look like? And they're like, you can actually get a degree in this, right? You can actually do this work. And for me, during undergrad, I was an RA, and it really sparked my desire to really do what I felt was my calling, which is to help people. When I started my master's program, I still wasn't sure that higher ed is what I really wanted to do. And I was able to go to a conference, and I met who later on became one of my most influential mentors, my dissertation chair. Her name is Saran Donahue, at a conference. And she tapped me and she was like, hey, you should think about this. And the rest, as they say, is history.
An RA. I love that. That was your
Yeah,
history.
that's how it starts. That's how it starts.
So you were right in there in the trench with the students.
As the kids would say, I got it out the mud, right? Like yeah, I was, I was there, and I say that to you. And I was a student leader on campus as well, and I say that when I engage with our student leaders on campus and even RAs to say I literally understand. Times are different, but I literally understand, right? And again, even being an RA, you live where you work, right? It's how you create healthy boundaries, like all of these things I was being upskilled to do as a 19, 20-year old because of the position that I held and the position that I had.
And like you said, we're living in different times, and these students are dealing with far greater things
Greater things.
than we were dealing with,
Greater things.
And so I'm just wondering what's top of mind, now in your role, whether it's the faculty or the student, what is the conversation about?
I will tell you that as an administrator and a mom, right? Like those things, the intersectionality of those things are real. Safety is always top of mind, right? For me. And our students are coming to us and we're seeing more concerns around anxiety, mental health concerns. That is real. And some of the things that feed into that are concerns around affordability, right? Access and navigating and feeling as if they're worthy or if they can do it, right? Especially for our students who are first gen and may not have a roadmap or may not have someone like you, Yoli, in your program to help them with mentorship through it. And also the desire to belong, right? I don't know if you remember this old series on TV called Cheers.
Yeah.
And the theme song was, "You want to go where everybody knows your name," right? One of the things that I'm confident in is because of how we are structured in our belief system, even though we are 45,000 students, we want our students to have that sense of belonging. And we're very intentional about how we outreach, how we engage, how we connect with mentors and other individuals on campus to make sure that we're cultivating, right? Because belonging is not something that happens. It's something that you have to cultivate. And it's a verb, like you have to do it. All right. So for me, it's if I'm thinking through conversations that I've had with students and families, and that is the piece that comes up.
Yes, I love that. Because on this podcast, we serve that incoming freshman and just all the anxiety that they're dealing with, just being in a new space, a new environment, even if they're local, just becoming a young adult is a whole conversation,
Yeah. And you're navigating a different space that is, even if you're not first gen, that is unknown to you. Right? Yeah.
And I understand you were a first gen graduate, yes?
I am. I'm first gen from the beautiful island of Jamaica. I migrated here many moons ago on a track scholarship. So not only first gen, but that layer of being an international student as well. Right. So all of that intersects to, again, being who I needed and wanted when I was younger, because international students are not new environment, new things, navigating new spaces, that takes a toll, right? And depending on the student, there may be a little bit of imposter syndrome sprinkled in there somewhere as well, right? And again, going back to that idea of belonging or that thought of, do I belong or can I do this? Am I worthy of this? I've not seen it happen before, so how do I navigate this?
Well, wait a minute. You just kind of rolled over. You were a track athlete from Jamaica.
Many moons ago, I tell folks the only time you will see me running is if somebody's cooking food, right? But outside of that, I walk briskly.
But I mean, you must have been pretty quick if you got into college.
Just a little bit, yeah.
Wow, fantastic. So what was that experience like for you, just incoming? How could you relate your experience? What stood out, I guess I could say, at that time for you as a student, just coming in?
I would say my parents and even my village did a really solid job of confidence building for me. I will share with folks that I don't think I've ever been one to lack confidence. However, even with that, going to a different country, unknown environment, unknown things, there's some fear that came along with that, right? And not necessarily even a desire to fit in, right? Because I share that with students now. I have never desired to fit in. I'll always stand out. But the belonging piece is navigating the cultural environment that I may not have had the cultural capital to navigate is one of the things that stands out, right? And I would offer that first gen students or students who are not even first gen, right, may have that experience coming into a different environment. I just came back from Kansas City, as I shared, for a national conference. I've worked in the Midwest before. Navigating that airport is new to me, right? It doesn't mean that I'm not able to do it, but making sure I'm showing up to the right space to get my ride share, right? Whether it's my Uber or my Lyft. So that's how I've simplified for my team and people around me when we talk about how we support students, right? Everything is new to someone until they've done it once.
Yeah.
Right. And when you talk about the foundation for the rest of someone's life, the stakes are a little bit higher. Right. So if we can channel how we feel in a moment when we have pause or, fear or whatever else about something new, right? Whether it's becoming a parent, whether it's starting a new job, whether it's going through a yellow light, hoping it doesn't turn red, whatever that looks like. If you can channel that and just magnify that, then we can understand how our students feel. And that to me is more important than anything else because we have to see the humanity in those we serve, right? Because they're not just a number, they're people's children.
That's
Right.
right.
So
I love that. They're people's children.
people's children. Yep. And our
And young
children.
adults,
Right.
our future. Our future.
Yeah.
How about
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
My
That's
goodness.
correct. Yeah.
Okay, so now when I think about confidence building, I love that you said that. Confidence was given first before you even hit the campus.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that to be everything, that to be crucial. So in our climate, and so much is happening, as we know, and if we don't have these solid foundational people around us, you could get lost, and the perception can swing a whole nother way.
Yes.
So can you give us a few ways to help that listener build confidence or seek out, recognize someone that they can call on to help?
And I will say this. I am fully aware that this is coming from a space of privilege, right? Because I am a grown adult who have been through a whole lot of things. Confidence building for me, and I explain this, I have a 14-year-old and a 12-year-old, comes from being brave, right? You have to be brave and ask the questions that you may think are stupid or not worthy of being asked. And most importantly, you have to ask for help. And you have to be okay. And here's the brave part, leaning in and saying, I don't know. And I've found, right, because I mentor a lot of folks that especially not, and it doesn't have to be first gen. One of the hardest things for some young folks to do is to reach out for help because we have socialized and normalized that asking for help means that you lack or that you're not smart or that you're not brilliant. We've not socialized our children or students to think that when you ask for help, that's actually a strength. It means that you have the emotional intelligence, the IQ to say, I know I need some assistance, or I know I need clarity, or I know I need to ensure that when it comes to this thing, I'm figuring it out the way I can. I would offer that all campuses, right? I believe that folks in positions like mine truly want, and that's such a huge comment to make, but I do because I know my profession, truly want our students to come, belong, graduate, get a job, and to become involved alumni. Right. And we do that by cultivating relationships that are relational and not transactional, right? If your students are just coming in and they're paying a bill and getting a service and then that's it, chances are the relationship is missing, right? How do you walk by someone and say, hey, how are you doing? Do you need help? Do you understand what this means? Right? Sometimes 30 seconds to a minute can have a significant impact on the lives of those you're engaging with. Because we don't know, right? We don't know.
That's so powerful. That's good stuff. Be brave. It's okay. Half of us don't know what we're doing.
Yeah. I would say 90% of us don't know what we're doing.
Hey, what we're
Right?
doing.
And if you think of, folks use Amazon and everyone, and I wish I could find a way to just remove the word failure from the English language, because I feel we lean into that so much to say if we don't get it right the first time, we're failing, instead of saying we're growing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We didn't fail, we're growing, because now we know now insanity to do and repeat the same behaviors that have not led to a growth opportunity. I want to be clear, right? However, right? There is beauty in not getting it right the first time sometimes.
Yes. Yes. You discover yourself in all of that.
And we don't talk about the beauty in that enough. Like, we talk about it as if it's the end of the road, right? We think about journeys and growth as being linear, when in actuality it's a circle, right? It's this circle that we keep going around and passing up ourselves and learning new things, and being brave enough to want to learn new things.
Right. Yes.
So for me, I think the foundation of that confidence building is helping students, or helping folks to be brave, and to cultivate bravery is us allowing them to make mistakes, right? And to be the net to help when those mistakes are made.
Mm-hmm. And I like what you said about there's transactional relationships and then there's the real ones or the affirming ones,
Yep. Yep.
And so I'm thinking part of that is also built in bravery, kind of recognizing if this is a transactional conversation I'm having,
Yeah. Yeah.
or they're really trying to help me and affirm me,
Yeah. And our students know when we're not real.
Yes.
They know when I have this saying, even with my staff: you can never bother me, right? You can never bother me, because I feel, and check this out, I feel honored that you felt confident, thought enough of me to reach out to me to help you with a problem, right? Because you could have gone anywhere else. So when folks reach out with a concern or an issue, and it's just how we reframe the way we think about things, right? I'm not a micromanager. I have amazing folks on my team who are knowledgeable and know a lot about a lot of things, right? When they reach out, I never want them to feel as if they're bothering me. Even our students, right? My team knows if I'm walking across campus and I get stopped by a student, I'm going to be late for whatever meeting I'm going to, because I'm going to pause to figure out if this is an emergency. And again, we have this little saying: lack of planning on your part does not constitute an emergency on my part. That is true in some regards. However, not because something is not an emergency to me doesn't mean it's not an emergency to this student who is trying to figure out how to stay in school, right? And if I blow off something that is so important to them, and there have been times where I was like, listen, I'm heading back to the office in 45 minutes. Can you meet me there? Or do you need me to walk you somewhere right now? Right? If you take 30 seconds to just understand what is happening, you'd be surprised at how much you can mitigate.
Very good. Good stuff. This is great. I was just thinking about final words of encouragement, and boy, you are encouraging.
Yeah. 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 For me, just be brave, and be open to understanding that bravery is rooted in knowing that you're going to make a mistake and still leaning in and still doing that thing anyways. Right? Legally. Right? I say that's legal. I say that to my son often, or my babies, right? I know you're scared, but you're gonna have to do it anyways. Right? Whether it's jumping off a cliff, right? When we travel, those are things. You're safe. Mom and dad are here to protect you and support you. And even if we weren't, you have a village to do that you trust. Do it.
And that cliff is to something great. Let's be clear.
The benefit of that is you also saying to yourself, so see, the bravery leads to confidence. And I too am in a process of writing a book around this, right? Bravery builds confidence because when you jump off this cliff, whether it's proverbial or not, you've accomplished something and you know you can do it.
That's great. Well, Dr. Doss, this has been powerful.
Thank
Look
you,
at that.
Yoli.
We made it happen. We came
made
together.
it happen. We made it happen. We made it happen.
I love it.
Synergy and alignment anytime. And just, again, reach out. You let me know. And I would love to continue to connect and keep this relationship going. Okay.
I would love it. So now if they want to reach out to you, should you want to send them to a website or an email?
The email address that you have on file for me, kdoss@fullerton.edu. is the best way. And I also tell folks, because email monsters do exist, meaning my email can eke something up because of the volume of emails that I get. If you haven't heard from me in 48 hours, resend it, right? Because that means that I haven't seen it.
All right, students. I mean, wow, she's giving you direct contact to her.
Yep.
There's no excuse. I appreciate it.
And if I don't know, I'll connect you with someone who does, because again, that's a part of being brave. And saying, I don't know what that is, or I don't know how to do this, but I can get you connected with someone who I think can.
I love it. Well, happy Women's History Month. Thank you.
Happy Women's History Month. Thank you so much. And good job with all the work that you're doing to move the needle forward with supporting our students on this journey to college and beyond.
I appreciate you. All right. You take care of yourself.
Okay. You too. Bye.
Thank you for joining us. So if you're still nervous about asking questions, be brave and ask anyway. For more information about other episodes, be sure to subscribe to the Back to Me podcast, College and Beyond. I'm your host, Yoli Tamu. Leave a review at the end of this podcast. And if you would like to learn more about other special events, join our community on our YouTube channel at the Back to Me podcast, or simply text Back to Me to 833-206-4565. Until next time, be well.